Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be restoring and customizing a Hot Wheels 55 Chevy Bel Air. They've made a couple of versions of the 55 Bel Air, and this is the earlier one. It was first produced in 1982 and the last year they made them was 2001. This yellow version here with the flames and the Chevy on the side there was made in 1988. So let's take a closer look at this one off of the turntable. There's quite a thick paint job on this model. It's got a white undercoat and then yellow and then a darker yellowy colour over the top. Those tampos there on the side are pretty worn away. It's got this metal base. It doesn't even have any Hot Wheels flames on it. And you might notice there's not really a whole hell of a lot of detail in this model. And it's got that black windscreen there. So they haven't even bothered to make an interior. First off, we'll take the car apart. There's two posts to drill out. And then I can pop the bottom off and take it apart. This car was very kindly sent to me by Nathan in Australia. So thanks once again, mate. He sent me heaps of cool cars. There we go. Now I can strip the paint off. This actually turned out to be quite a mission. I started with my normal paint stripper. There we see I've painted it all over the car, and I left it for a good half an hour. Usually this stuff takes a couple of minutes to remove the paint. And as you can see, it's not really affecting it that much. Only this yellow paint underneath. Definitely not that darker orangey yellow on top. So here it is after a rinse. You can see it actually hasn't really done much. If anything, it's just made it more shiny. This is the first time that the paint stripper hasn't really made a difference. So next I try Rob from Matchbox Garage's technique of some boiling water and caustic soda. So it's into the hot water with my car and 3 heaping spoonfuls of caustic soda, and this was left another half an hour or so. And as you can see, it's barely touched it either. Has however helped to start some of it chipping away, and the paint stripper was definitely removing the lower layers of paint. So I spend a bit of time with my craft knife and chip off all of the loosened paint that I can, and I also scratch the rest of it, and some of the larger areas I rubbed over with some steel wool to help weaken that top layer. And then I treated it with the paint stripper again, and finally I'm getting somewhere. It's starting to peel off. Here it is after a rinse. There's a bit of paint left on it, but the stuff's pretty much just hanging on now, and I think I can remove it all with a wire brush on my rotary tool. So this was by far the most difficult paint I've ever had to remove. In fact, it's the only time I've ever had trouble removing paint from a casting. And here we are finally. It's cleaned up and looking shiny, ready for some paint. But just before I paint it, I'll tap and drill the posts. I'm using a 1.7mm drill and a 256 tap. And then with those done, I can start painting it. So I begin with an undercoat of black. I'm going to be giving my Chevy Bel Air a two-tone faded candy paint job. So I'm going to start out by painting over this black primer with some Vallejo metal color silver. There we go, that's looking nice. Oh, power cut. Right, there we go, that's looking nice. So I'm going to paint my Bel Air with Vallejo Candy Magenta and Candy Blue. Now I did try to film this whole process for you, but unfortunately it was just out of frame. So anyway, this was the finished result. Next I detail it. Just detail the lights with some chrome. I used some Tamiya clears to detail the rear lights over the chrome that I've painted on there. And that's pretty much all the details there are on this casting, so it was finished with a nice coat of gloss clear. Onto the base now. It's actually quite a nice chunky one. I'm going to have to take those wheels and axles out of there. The way I do that is to use this straight burr here on my Dremel to cut a little notch into the axle. And then I can just bend it up and snap it off and pull the rest out from the other side. So I'll just do this with the other axle as well. Next I give it a bit of a clean up with the wire brush on my rotary tool. There we go, that's looking nice and clean. Now I can paint it. I'll start with some black primer. And then I paint it underneath with Vallejo Metal Colour Burnt Iron. And I paint the grills and pipes at the side there with chrome. And finally I detailed the little indicator lights there and put a black wash on the grill. Here's the windscreen and the blower. They're in pretty good condition. It's a little bit scuffed, but it's hardly noticeable. So I give it a good wash in some hot soapy water. And then I'm going to detail the blower here with chrome. I gave it about 3 coats. And I just finish it off with a dip in the self-shining floor polish. And finally, these old wheels. They could be in worse condition, but they're pretty ugly. So I'm going to be swapping them out for some aftermarket ones. You can see these ones don't have painted rims, so I'll just have to pop the tyres off them and paint the rims up. I'm going to be painting my rims chrome for this car, so I'll start out sticking them on some skewers here and I'll undercoat them with black, and then I painted them with Vallejo Metal Colour Chrome. And here they are, looking pretty cool now. I just have to put the tyres back on and they'll be ready to go on the car. And so here they are, all of the parts of our little 55 Chevy Bel Air by Hot Wheels, refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. There wasn't a lot to reassembling this. I just popped the wheels in the chassis and then screwed the rest of it together with some button head screws. But just before we take a look at the finished item, let's take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. Our chipped and worn looking Hot Wheels 55 Chevy Bel Air from 1988. Odd sort of yellow colour, doesn't really suit a Bel Air. It's got worn out tampos on the side. I definitely think it could look a bit better. And here it is, our finished, restored and customised Hot Wheels 1955 Chevy Bel Air. That odd thick yellow paint job is long gone, replaced with a cool looking two-tone candy fade. It's had the details done. It's got a nice chromed blower on the front there, and it's got a cool looking new set of big fat wheels on it. I really like how this car came out. I don't think that yellow paint job did anything for it at all. But with this nice new two-tone candy one and those big wheels, I think it looks really mean. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Maybe you had this toy when you were a kid. I'd imagine quite a few people did. So a big thanks to everyone for the great comments and likes on my videos. Extra special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters who help to support the channel through Patreon. If you'd like to join them and help me keep making videos like this for you to watch, you can check out my Patreon page. There'll be a link in the description down below. Massive thanks as always to Nathan for sending the car in to be restored. I hope you enjoyed the video, mate. You like how it came out. Thanks heaps to everyone for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you'd like to see more like it, remember to subscribe and click the bell. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.